Broadcasting live from the only establishment in town that can't kick him out. His own basement. The world according to Rocket.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Bam. What's up, guys? How the heck are you? Man, I'm just digging my piece of artwork back there, huh? Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Let's see who we got. Stingray first in the game today. Stingray says, I'm ready to prove all those naysayers wrong. Boy, I do too. And that's the thing. You know, there's always a chance we could win. I mean, what they're predicting is a 70% chance that Georgia will win, and that makes sense. That's what the numbers say, but as we have found out many, many times, it's not necessarily about the numbers. Slim, hey man, how are you? Thank you, Slim, for being here. Eric B. Jones, an associate. What's up? You think Tennessee has any chance to upset Georgia in Neyland Stadium? I do. Do we think they had any kind of chance to beat Alabama last year? No. Not on paper. Right? But we kicked their ass. We stood there toe-to-toe like an MMA main event. Wham! Bam! Bam! Now, will it happen? Don't think so. But if I'm not mistaken, I think that Alabama was 70% chance to win this game last year as well. But if we're to believe the numbers and everybody plays to form, I think we're probably going to be on the downside of this one. But I can always hope. You know, Joe Milton hasn't had still a killer game yet. The defense has had one or two killer games. They're due for another one. It is Neyland Stadium. A lot can go wrong for a team in Neyland Stadium. Slim says, we're going to upset the Dogs. You know what? It's interesting because I have absolutely no expectation of this game, and I'm very happy about that, right? I got a comment today that really brought it into focus for me. And I'm going to do a video on this here in a little bit. Probably it'll be the first video that I do next week because it blew my mind how it opened up my vision and how I feel about this football team. And I don't want to spoil it because I haven't formulated how I'm going to handle it yet, but blew my mind. It was just top tier. So I got to get this guy on the show. His name is Zach Reagan. He's a writer. What does he write for? A to Z Sports. The headline, I like this guy a lot. Headline for Tennessee football, Vols, Titans, and especially the Commodores. It's been a very bad year. I don't think it's been a very bad year. It's a rebuilding year, and we've had some disappointments. But look, we're looking at a 9-4. Right? He goes on to say the Vols' two best years during the stretch of 2008 to 2020 were 9-4 seasons in 2015 and 16 when we had Josh Dobbs and Alvin Kamara. Right? Those teams had the unfortunate distinction of being coached by Butch Jones. The 2023 team likely won't go 10-3 unless they beat Georgia. See, there's even still a chance to go 10-3 this year. That shocked the crap out of some people, wouldn't it? It's possible. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to beat Georgia. I don't. Something very unusual is going to happen. If Georgia shows up with their A game, and I believe that their A game is not the A game that they had last year, but if they show up with their A game, I think we'll lose. But he goes on to say, 9-4, as I have been saying all week long, is not a horrible thing under the circumstances. The Vols averaged 6 wins a year from 2008 to 2020. All right? This is just not a horrible, horrible situation. It's our expectations that were horribly misplaced. Everybody needs to understand that. Given the significant amount of talent that we lost last year, or this year from last year. You know, and then Keelan Peely, who was our backstop, that linebacker from from BYU. Cooper Mays was hurt for several months. Didn't get in until a month after the season started. Joe Milton was hurt. Brew McCoy was out. Kamal Haddon was out. And essentially the entire offensive line has been forced to play through injuries due to a lack of depth. And now wide receiver Dante Thornton is hurt again just as he was emerging. So we've got nothing to be ashamed of. And I'm, quite frankly, I'm proud of this team now that I have studied it more as opposed to let my expectations dictate my thoughts and commentary, right? I'm proud of these guys. I am. See what we got here. Tennessee has a chance to win, not by much, maybe 27-24, but I'm confident. Slim says, we're going to upset the Dogs. Stingray says, we're going to show up Saturday and put a whooping on those puppies. All right. Slim says, I believe it. I believe Slim believes it. Stingray, I don't know whether you believe it or not, Stingray. What do you think, Stingray? I don't believe it. I believe it's possible, but I don't think it is a take that to the bank kind of thing. Right? I'm very annoyed at the moment because I had a computer crash today, and it crashed my notes for tonight's live. Just crashed them. I have no idea what happened. They're totally gone. Totally gone. One other thing on my notes was I read another computer model today that was, this was some big outfit, and it was very in line with mine, which kind of made me feel pretty good. My computer model is pretty damn good. They predicted 33 to 22, I believe. That was their computer model for Georgia. My computer model was 35 to 24. Interesting. So we both had 10.5 points losing that game on Saturday. Is anybody in here going to the game on Saturday? Do we know? I'm just checking for some last minute comments here. Oh, and I heard this rumor. I heard somebody talking about, you know how people talk in chat rooms and that sort of thing, right? And they were talking about, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Tennessee came out? Stingray says no. It's okay, Stingray. I'm with you. I don't think we're going to win either. But I'm going to pull like hell for them, and I'm not going to be upset if we don't. I'm not. I'll be upset if we make some stupid plays, right? But Look, it would be serendipity if we were to win this game. And that's all right. That's all right. And I was talking about, what the hell was I talking about? A little ADHD kicking in here. Yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say. Stingray's comment got me. Slim, I believe they can beat anybody, and I also believe they can be beat by anybody. Yes, true enough. And I will point out that everybody is drawing a disaster marker back to the Austin Peay game, right? Who was it that brought it to my attention? I think it was Mead Drinker that brought it to my attention a couple of weeks ago. And that is Austin Peay has not lost a game since they played Tennessee. So they were more formidable, if there are levels of formidability. I don't know, did I make that up? Probably. Or formidalosity. Somebody give me a word for it. But they've not lost a game since the Tennessee game. They're like 7-0 or some crap like that. So they're playing pretty good, right? And I'm sure that game with Tennessee helped them in their seasonal development. What else we got? As I said last week when this loss occurred, that it was going to be a bad week for Heupel. You know, which is people always second guessing and whatever. And I put myself into that category because I have done that in the past a lot. And I'm not going to do that anymore. Just not. Now, I will comment on, you know, a bad play or, man, I would have done something different in that situation. But he knows what he's doing. They all do up there. And the bottom line is, if we have the depth of talent that, say, Georgia and Alabama have, maybe Michigan, we'd be doing all right. Okay, that's the key to it, and that's the only reason why 10-3 doesn't help us a whole lot, right? That 10 is a magic number. Hey, we went 10-3. If we could have you on our football team, man, we would go 12-0 kind of thing. They lose that story because it's less of an excitement and an inspo to say, you know, we went 9-4. If we could have you on our team, we could go 10-3, right? So it does hurt recruiting a lot. That's why last year was so important. Eric B. Jones chimes in. Only thing that worries me is Brew McCoy, Dante Thornton, Kamal Haddon, and Kenan Peely being out injured because that puts Tennessee at half strength. And honestly, they need to be at full strength. 100%. You know, that's 100%. We saw that at Alabama. We saw that at Missouri. You know, but there's something magical about Neyland Stadium. And it infuses an energy that they can't get on the road. And it will be very interesting to see how they play on Saturday against the best team in the country. See, that's the cool thing. They've not seen. They've had a tough schedule. So it's not like they've not seen what they're about to see, right? It's just a matter if they can man up, you know, from down to down with these guys. You know, Joe gets hot, get a couple of runs that knock it out of the park. You never know what's going to happen. I think the number of 70% chance of Georgia rain on the Volunteers Saturday is probably about right. Stingray fans need to remember where we've been and appreciate Coach Hype and support him. 100%. 100%. We are trending up. Period. In the grand scheme of things, if we look over 5 years, if we look over 10 years, we are drastically trending up. Even let's say Vanderbilt beats us, which is not going to happen. But even Vanderbilt beats us. We end up 8-5, and we lose in the bowl. We end up 8-5, right? Or win the bowl, 8-5. You know, it's still historically, under the circumstances, given what we all lost, it just ain't that bad. It isn't. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to enjoy this game and not be, nail-biting nervous about, oh my God, we might lose. Yeah, we might lose. We might win. I've really changed my opinion of this football team. You know, I understand that they are, the trajectory is up. We're trending up. And we're going to continue to get better. And I can't wait. Arthur Callahan, Johnny Art, Dirty Callahan. Thanks for coming in. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. And now I'm just going to kind of, Eric B. Jones and Associates leaves a good comment here, and that's what I was getting ready to transition to. It's about to get real with Nico, starting quarterback for Coach Heupel in 2024, and these SEC fan bases are already worried about Tennessee next season. You know, I am, what am I doing? I'm in positive mode just watching. I would love to see Nico play the Vanderbilt game. I would love for them to just give that game to him. Or, after the first quarter, give that game to him. That's what I would love. That would be awesome. And then that way we could really see. Now, there's a fellow who posts on this channel, comments. He's really quite good with curating statistics. But then he made a comment the other day that I just have to push back on, and because there's curating statistics, and then there's being able to analyze statistics, right? And he's really good at one or the other, and he's shite for the other. And he said, he made the comment that, well, Nico's not that good anyway. What? What? Did you really say that? Maybe it was a typo. Maybe he didn't mean to say that, but I think he meant to say that. And my opinion is just stupid to say that. And apparently he has no player analytical skills whatsoever. Nico is going to spark so much energy. He's going to infuse so much energy. Just in the 10 or 15 times he's been on the field already, the crowd goes absolutely nuts. All right? And let me just talk about Nico for a minute, refuting what this guy said about Nico's not that good anyway. Nico was put in 3 times this year. He was put in with 11 minutes to go in the fourth quarter at Virginia. He did and they gave him the keys. They didn't shut him down. They gave him the keys. He drove 40 yards, and Tennessee scored a touchdown. Boom. Okay? I think he played one other series after that, and he was out. The next time he played was against Austin Peay. And This guy was talking about Joe Milton as a way superior quarterback to Nico because Joe Milton had, I don't know, 15 for 20 and had this many yards passing or whatever in that awesome game, which is absurd because Nico wasn't put in there with 2 minutes left to go in the game. He wasn't put in there to run the offense. He was put in there to do three things. Number one, he was put in there to take a few snaps in that shotgun successfully. He was put in there to, number two, to hand the ball off to the running back so there weren't any fumble exchanges, just to get that experience under live fire. And then he was put in there to toss it out to the sideline, a couple of little flat passes, which were incomplete. He wasn't given the keys to the kingdom, to the Ferrari. That was not the point that he was in there for. And he went ahead and made the conflation that Joe played so much better than Nico. And even I remember back during that game, he said, "See, I told you guys Nico wasn't very good. He was only 0 for 2. And that kind of analysis is just frickin'. I love the guy, and he posts a lot, which is good for the channel. But man, that's just lunacy if you believe that. And if that's the way you analyze your statistics, which is very good. You do a very good job of that. Curating, not analyzing. And then the third time Nico played, we saw what happened against Connecticut. It was 2.5 months later. He was given the keys, and we saw what he did. And my God, I mean, wow. He has as good an instinct as any freshman quarterback I've ever seen. He is quick to pull the trigger in terms of, he's quick to hit the eject button. Quicker as anybody as I've ever seen. He throws a much more catchable ball than Joe does. And he can run like a deer. He is elusive. He is elusive. Joe Milton is fast, but Nico is fast and elusive. When he gets out in the open field, nobody's going to tackle him. I mean, it's just amazing. So Nico is going to infuse something in this football team that this football team and this university has not seen since Josh Dobbs, and maybe even before Josh Dobbs. I'm trying to remember back who had that kind of impact as a quarterback. Trying to remember who had, I'm going to say Conridge. It's a smaller package, but he's Conridge Holloway in a 6'6", 210-pound body. Right? He has that quick instinct, and he knows when to do it. Joe Milton is a second and a half behind that instinct. Pow! Okay, there's my little thing. And I mean no disrespect to the guy who left these messages, but I don't disrespect it. I appreciate the engagement, but he's so incredibly wrong on that assessment that, well, Nico's not that good anyway. He only went 0 for 2 against Austin Peay. Really? That's your analysis? Okay. Johnny Art Callahan. They're scared of him. Speaking of Nico, they're already planting seeds of doubt. Maybe so. Did you notice how the players reacted to him? They believe in him too. They do believe in him too. It's going to change the paradigm at Tennessee football. Nico looking acts really serious, and I like it. He's confident. He could be playing. Arthur Callahan, an armchair quarterback. Tell me what that means, sir. Me or who? Eric B. Jones. Nico is twice the quarterback that Joe is. I don't want this to turn into a Slam Joe thing. Nico has needed this opportunity to get where he is, and where he is right now is frickin' ready. Nico is twice the QB Joe is, and can see that with the very limited time he's played this season. I agree. Ken Brownstone, how are you, sir? Thank you for being here. What's on the grill tonight, my brother? Slim, Nico can turn sideways and disappear. I don't know whether you're talking to the ninja Nico or the skinny Nico. I think Nico needs to put on another 10 or 15 pounds. And he'll probably do that over the season, over the summer, over the fall and winter, I mean, going into next season. If he could put on another 10 pounds or so, get up to about 220, and not lose any speed. And those strength coaches at Tennessee understand how to do that, to make these guys bigger without making them less quick or less fast. Johnny Art Callahan, he knows how to make people miss in the open field. He sure does. The last player who could run like that, I was about to say Conridge. You're right. He reminds me of a big version of Conridge. Only Nico can. And I'll tell you who else. There was a quarterback after Conridge. His name was Jimmy Streeter. Do you remember Jimmy Streeter? Boy, that dude was amazing. He might even remind me a little more of Jimmy Streeter than Conridge, now that I think about it, because their size was closer. But it's a thing that you can't. It's a thing you can't teach, that instinct to go. You know, his go bag is always packed and ready to go. That's the part he likes, is, go, gone, right? And everybody else is going, oh, shit, right? Eric B. Jones, probably good as T. Martin. I don't think that's a contest. T. Martin was an amazing passer, but he did not have elusive get out of trouble skills. I mean, I covered them that year on my very first one of these at radioplex.com. And I was there I was there on the field with them when they won that championship against Florida State. That was amazing. And what amazed me was when I got down there on the field with them. Now, this is back in 98, right? I got down there on the field with them, and most of those defensive backs weren't any bigger than I am. You know, 5'9", 5'10", somewhere in there. And I just went, oh, I could have played. No, not really. I didn't have the heart. Oh, but I was amazed by that, seeing that. That was a great time. But I think Nico is a whole different animal. Nico is a Bryce Young. Nico is who's the guy from Auburn that I can't stand, that I couldn't stand? The guy that started that crap, that burned out in the NFL. I can't remember that guy. I can't remember his name. Steak and fish on the grill from Brownstone. All right. Nice. Now, Brownstone, is this your establishment, or is it an establishment within which you are in the employ? Talk to me. Johnny Art Callahan, the guy you talked about who said Nico wasn't as... Oh, I got you. Okay. Well, he's a great stat guy. He just can't read them. He don't know what they mean. He lacks the context. Arthur Callahan, natural talent that can't be taught. You're right. It's just instinct, man. You're just born with it. And it develops since you're, like a baby. What was I going to say? Cam Newton. Thank you, Johnny Art. Yeah, Cam Newton. I mean, he was something. He was something in college. You know, tell you who else was something in college. Was Tim Tebow. You know, that dude had the ability to do everything. Everything. You know, I'm surprised that he didn't do, and he had every opportunity, but he just could not convert that to the NFL. Ken Brownstone, no employee, but I've been here 30 years. Wow. So you fish and you and your steak are done, is what you're saying. Going to be the owner soon. That's cool. Congratulations. Mead drinker Nico was grown in a lab specifically for Heupel's offense. I think you're right. Really, people just do not understand how good this guy is going to be if he can stay healthy. Because he has in him the same thing Bryce Young has in him. He has in him the same thing Josh Dobbs. Can we just all just stop what you're doing right now and give Josh Dobbs some love? My God, this guy he's been around since 2016 waiting to get his chance. And he gets thrown to the next team and thrown to the next team and thrown to the next team and thrown. I mean, it's just crazy. And now he is the Cinderella. He was the Cinderella of the NFL right now. I got to quit looking at these comments while I'm talking. I get distracted. Johnny Art, you're right. Tebow was amazing in college, just amazing. And he willed things to happen because of his own ability. He was not afraid to go out and make things happen. Give me the ball. And I have a real strong sense, just based on watching Nico's, time to go, boom. Just his understanding of that in a hair of a second. In a hair of a second, he makes that decision, and it's the right decision. You know, and we got to see a couple of downs like that, and people were going, hey, you know, we want to see more of that. Well, it's not necessary to see more of that right now. They gave him the keys to the Ferrari or the Lambo or whatever at the UConn game, and we saw what he did, and it was just brilliant. I would love for them to give him the keys for the Vanderbilt game. Anybody with me? Raise your hand. Anybody with me? Raise your hand. Mead drinker, that's an interesting thing that you're saying. Maybe so. I mean, he's an incredible athlete, but I've just contended the whole time that he's a great backup quarterback. He would probably be a great tight end. And I am convinced at this point that the NFL has seen enough of him, thanks to Heupel, leaving him in there, right? That they've seen enough of him to where somebody might take him, or at least let him walk on, because I joked the other day about, and maybe, if for no other reason, to throw a 75-yard Hail Mary. Right? That's not out of the question at all now for people. Yay! Let's see. Robert Duncan, love the way Josh Dobbs won that game last week. I tell you, he is the dude. You know, move over, Patrick Mahomes. Wow. And I'm just so glad, even if it's for a few games. You know, and the dude doesn't have to do this. He literally is a rocket scientist. All right? And I'm sure that's where he's going to end up, down at NASA, charting the path to Mars at some point. And I couldn't be happier for the guy. I mean, I'm just giddy. I'm so happy for him. And guess who's become a Minnesota Vikings fan all of a sudden? That'd be me. Go Josh Dobbs. Yeah. Johnny Art, I agree with me. Joe's just isn't made for the offense, and he's been given every opportunity, and they've had to design a different offense. They've had to modify it a little bit, which is why it looks kind of clunky, which is why it can't run the way it needs to run, because if you'll think back, Hendon Hooker took charge of this offense. I mean, they were up at the line of scrimmage and ready to go. There was none of this looking over. Sometimes on third down, when it was important, they're looking over and getting the play in. But Hendo had the freedom to run the offense, right? And I just get the feeling that Joe doesn't. First and second down maybe, but not so much run it all the time, right? And again, there's no knock on Joe. I hope he does well. And Heupel has done the right thing because he made a decision at the very beginning of this season. We are not putting Nico in there this year unless it's absolutely necessary, right? We're going to give him the space to learn and practice, not take hits, put some more weight on him. And we're going to give Joe a shot. Joe's had his shot. He'll probably get a tryout even. I mean, look, in my opinion, Anthony Richardson, who was playing for the Colts, he was their starting quarterback for a few games until he got hurt. I think Joe's every bit as good as Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson can run a little bit better than Joe, I think. But they're both about the same problems with the accuracy. And ever since Joe, and my watching Joe, what I have noticed is I've really scrutinized, ever since we started talking about he's in there to give Joe a chance at playing at the next level, okay? And I started looking at these quarterbacks, and these NFL quarterbacks mostly are really accurate. Mostly, right? They have other problems. They don't read defensive well, or they can't get out of trouble, or they hold the ball too long, or whatever. But when they throw it, most of the time it's pretty damn accurate, okay? And I remember years ago, when I was in Omaha, y'all will remember, you older folks will remember a guy named Bruce Matheson. Bruce Matheson was a quarterback for Nebraska, and he went on to play for the Bills, the Buffalo Bills, and he played several years there. I think he played for the Patriots and the Bills. He mostly played at the Bills. And I cast him in a commercial that I was shooting for the radio station that I was working, because he lives in Nebraska, in Omaha. And the day we were shooting the commercial on lunch break, he said, "Hey, Rocky, you want to catch a couple of passes from an NFL quarterback?" He's just showing out. And I went, "Oh, hell, that ain't nothing to me." Broke my hand. Broke my hand. Split me right there and broke my hand from about 40 yards away. Wow. That was interesting. That was an enlightening moment. Those balls come at you. And I can't imagine, he was a big burly kid like, Joe is. Bruce Matheson. Look him up on Facebook. Tell him I said hi. All right, what am I miss here? Johnny Art. I agree with Mead. Georgia's made for the offense. Mead Drinker. Georgia's offense is very basic fundamentals. You just have 5 stars doing it. Right. Yeah. Yep, defense the same. And it's going to take a while. That's the one thing we can upgrade the offense. We can make it an elite offense in terms of schemes. But that's the one thing we can't do is Pony Express getting those 5 stars. That just comes through winning and winning and winning. That's the thing. And that's why I'm excited. And it comes through people like Nico, having a breakout year, and then the whole world talking about Nico Iamaleava. Frank Rizzo. Love your name, brother. Pulling for the Vols Saturday in Columbia, South Carolina. All right. I appreciate that. We need all the pull we can get. It's going to be a rough day for us, but I'm hopeful. We'll see what happens. Johnny Art sounds kind of like a prick if he threw it to someone who didn't play. No, well, it was a long way away. I mean, it was 40 yards. I could run a route 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And, I was downfield, and it just, I just wasn't used to catching a football. I mean, he wasn't being a prick. I mean, no, I was way down there. Oh, I'll just catch this. Whoop. Not so much. No, he and I are good friends. Meat drinker. Did you hear the audio of drink after the game? Told Heupel that we stand on business at the handshake. Rizzo. Did I mispronounce your name, Rizzo? I thought I said Frank Rizzo. Robert Duncan, we need the 1985 Sugar Bowl defense to show up this weekend. Remember that game against Miami? I do. I was just looking at some clips of that this week. You're right. It was Drink Super Bowl. You're right. And credit to them. That's a pretty good damn football team, right? And they beat us fair and square, badly. So. Okay, guys. That's all I got, unless anybody else has got something to bring to the table. That's all I got. I'll be here to do the show and watch the game on Saturday. If I remember correctly, it's 2:30, I think. 2:30, is that what it is? I think so. 2:30, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. So we'll be here shaking it up as usual. I got me some TV now. I can call the game and comment as it's happening. That's so much more fun. And I appreciate greatly the person who did it for me. Frank Rizzo, I definitely think you guys have enough talent to beat Georgia, but that same Fiat team, same Fat team that went to Missouri better not show. Yeah. They've had some problems on the road. Georgia. They've had some problems. Maybe Neyland will give them some problems. However, Heupel's first year against Georgia at Neyland didn't seem to bother him. They were more interested in the black uniforms. That was when they debuted the black uniforms. It was a game against Georgia, and Georgia kind of laughed and said, "Hold my beer." Right, if y'all remember that. Okay. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. And I will see you on Saturday. Peace out. Go Big Orange.